Looking to part ways with complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping? Then give your business the edge it needs with USPS Ground Advantage shipping from the United States Postal Service. Keep everything simple with clear, upfront pricing and no unexpected surcharges. Keep things affordable with some of the lowest prices out there. And keep it all reliable with on-time ground shipments. It's time to turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable. This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2725, Cognitive Bias by the Mad Fientist of madfientist.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. This is the show where I serenade you with the sweet sounds of personal finance knowledge from some of the best blogs on the planet, with the author's permission, of course. And if you're enjoying the show, why not share it with a friend today? Invite them to join the party by sending them a link to oldpodcast.com. And while they're there, they can check out our other shows on topics like personal development, health, work, and relationships. But for now, let's get right to today's post and start optimizing your life. Cognitive Bias by the Mad Fientist of madfientist.com. Let's all step into the Mad Fientist laboratory for a minute to run a little experiment. I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios and you just have to quickly choose one option and then move on to the next scenario. Imagine you're the head of the U.S. Center for Disease Control and a deadly disease breaks out. There's been an outbreak on 2 separate islands, and there are 2 courses of action you can take on each island that will affect how many people survive the outbreak. Island number 1. On island number 1, if program A is adopted, 270 people will die. If program B is adopted, there's a 40% chance that no one will die, and a 60% chance that all 450 people on the island will die. Island number 2. Programs A and B can't be implemented on island number 2, so you have to instead choose between programs C and D. If program C is adopted, 180 people will be saved. If program D is adopted, there's a 2 in 5 chance that all 450 people on the island will be saved, and a 3 in 5 chance that nobody will be saved. Selections. Did you choose programs B and C? When this experiment is conducted in an actual laboratory, the vast majority of people chose program B over program A and program C over program D. So what's the point? Let's take a closer look at these scenarios again. The expected values of the programs are actually exactly the same for all 4 programs. For program A, 180 out of 450 people will be saved. For program B, the expected value is 180 saved. Now, if you also take a closer look and compare the 2 scenarios, you'll see that programs C and D are exactly the same as programs A and B, respectively. For program A, 270 people will die, so 180 people will survive, which is the same as program C. For program B, there's a 2 in 5 chance that everyone will survive and a 3 in 5 chance everyone will die, just as in program D. So all programs are equal in terms of effectiveness. Programs A and C are exactly the same, and programs B and D are exactly the same. So why is it most people choose to gamble in the first scenario, program B, but choose the sure thing in the second scenario, program C? It's all about how the outcomes are framed and how we feel about risk and loss. Framing, loss aversion, and risk. If the problem is framed as a loss, as it is in the island number 1 scenario, focusing on the people who will die rather than the people who live, we become risk-seeking. Since 270 people will definitely die if we choose program A, we'd rather risk killing everyone for the chance of saving those 270 people. If the program is framed as a gain, however, as it is in the island number 2 scenario, focusing on the people that will be saved, we become risk-adverse. We want to protect our gains, in this case, the saving of 180 people. So the majority of us would choose program C to avoid the risk of losing those 180 if we instead chose program D. So simply by framing the same exact outcomes in different ways, we've altered the decisions of the majority of the population. How does this apply to finances? So why am I making you put islanders' lives at risk? To illustrate that your brain often affects your decision-making without you consciously being aware of it. You may feel that you're smarter than other people and that you're able to make logical decisions when it comes to your finances, but these subtle quirks of your mind influence every decision you make. Anchoring. Let me present to you another study to further reinforce this point. We've all probably heard of Gandhi. If you close your eyes, you can maybe even picture him. Since the image is likely an image of him shortly before his death, you'd most likely do reasonably well guessing how old he was when he died. If before asking you how old you think Gandhi was when he died, I ask, did Gandhi live to be 140? You'd probably laugh at my stupidity and say, no, that's ridiculous. If before asking you how old you think Gandhi was when he died, I ask, did Gandhi live to be 9? You'd probably also laugh at my stupidity and say, absolutely. Neither of the responses to these two ridiculous questions is surprising. What is surprising, however, is how the responses to the how old was Gandhi when he died question are affected when you precede the question with one of the two ridiculous questions just mentioned. When asked, did Gandhi live to be 140 before being asked how old he was when he died, participants answered on average that he was about 67 when he died. When participants were instead asked, did Gandhi live to be 9 before being asked how old he was when he died, participants answered on average that he was 50 when he died. In this experiment, the ridiculous scenarios, even though they were far-fetched, served as anchors that ultimately affected the answers to the question about Gandhi's age at death. It's not hard to see how this type of anchoring could affect your financial decision-making. If all the talking heads on CNBC are saying the Dow's going to go to 18,000 by year's end, an anchor is set in your mind that could potentially affect your view of the market and subsequently your interactions with the market. Other examples. The bad news doesn't stop at framing and anchoring, however. There's also confirmation bias, the idea that we tend to place more weight on opinions that we agree with and discount or disregard information that we don't agree with. Illusory superiority, about 80% of the population believes they are above average drivers, and many, many more. How can you save yourself from yourself? So what's the solution? My advice is to try to take your brain out of the investing equation as much as possible. I know that probably sounds like the worst investing advice ever, but let me explain. Your brain is useful when setting up an investment plan, but it's not useful when you execute that plan, for reasons mentioned already. I invest the majority of my portfolio in a total stock market index fund. This simple strategy has allowed me to take my brain out of the what question completely when it comes time to invest. I don't spend hours agonizing over which stock to invest in this month, and therefore, I don't let all of the external factors present in the world unconsciously influence my decisions. You can also take your brain out of the when question as well. To do so, set up an automated investment plan that automatically invests a certain amount of money every month. Automating your investments will further decrease the possibility of your brain sabotaging your investment plan and will allow you to consistently invest your money as soon as it's available to invest. You just listened to the post titled Cognitive Bias by the Mad Fientist of madfientist.com, and I'll be right back with my commentary. Looking to part ways with complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping? Then give your business the edge it needs with USPS Ground Advantage shipping from the United States Postal Service. Keep everything simple with clear, upfront pricing and no unexpected surcharges. Keep things affordable with some of the lowest prices out there. And keep it all reliable with on-time ground shipments. It's time to turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable. If you've been using Mint to manage your finances, I've got some bad news. Mint is shutting down. But now for the good news. There's a better alternative. Our sponsor, Monarch Money. Mint users are turning to Monarch Money and loving it. Maybe you're saving for a down payment, a wedding, a dream vacation, your kids' college. I've found that Monarch makes it so easy to help you reach your financial goals, whatever they are. I definitely wouldn't be able to allocate my finances or plan as clearly without help from Monarch. In fact, Monarch is the top-rated all-in-one personal finance app. It gives you a comprehensive view of all of your accounts, investments, transactions, and more. Create custom budgets, set goals, and collaborate with your partner. And now get an extended 30-day free trial when you go to monarchmoney.com/OFD. After trying out Monarch for myself, I understand why it's the top-rated personal finance app. And right now, get an extended 30-day free trial when you go to monarchmoney.com/OFD. That's monarchmoney.com/OFD for your extended 30-day free trial. This article reminded me of the importance of reframing a situation when you're trying to come to a well-thought-out decision. So for example, in the FIRE community, people often obsess over their FI number. Is it going to be enough? Did I calculate it correctly? Do I have enough to retire? I think a much more helpful question, especially if someone's really young, is to ask if you have enough money to take a risk. So much of the future is unknowable. And if you're waiting for 100% certainty to make a change, you're probably going to feel stuck for a long time. Another question I think is helpful is to ponder what you would do if you could never retire. I like this one because it forces you to get creative about what you could do to make changes now and to not put your life on hold in pursuit of a financial goal. And when it comes to confirmation bias, I also think many financially savvy people have a strong negativity bias. We're always asking what could go wrong and how we can plan for it, but we rarely ask what it looks like if things go right. But that should do it for another edition of Optimal Finance Daily. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.